It's a good way of doing it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Dragonfangs versus Mickey, this will be good. I've been looking forward to this.
How close are their PBs?
I've been looking forward in general to like the third round because that's when a lot of really cool matchups happen on the winner side of the bracket. Mickey has a 46 and Dragonfangs has a 47. They are third and sixth seed, so they're pretty close. And Dragonfangs has been out of Fusion for quite a while, but he's been practicing a lot for the purpose of this tournament. So whether or not he's like good enough to take on Mickey will be interesting. Mickey having the... I mean, it's a little tricky to say because some of the better Fusion players exclusively played the English version, but Mickey has won, I think, like the third best time, real time, for Fusion.
In English or?
No, on the Japanese version.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So they both seem to be going just a second or two apart.
Yep, they both failed the climb, but the climb is awkward, always.
Yeah.
I don't think people are ever like super confident in the climb. Oh, I've so been looking forward to this race. So good.
You know what's even better?
What is even better?
The dialogue.
The dialogue is pretty long.
There's a lot of it. And that's currently what's going on. So,
Yeah, the first like 5 minutes of the game has a lot of text in general, so but that's, I mean, the tournament is decided by real time, right? So like part of the skills that you need for a good race is to be able to advance quickly through the text, despite the fact that it doesn't count for in-game time. And yeah, it might seem like Mickey is doing slightly better at advancing through text, at least for the moment.
yeah, I saw in the intro, I think there was about a second of difference between them. That also might have been like startup.
It can matter quite a lot, for sure. But yeah. Yeah, Mickey's taken a decent lead so far. Once they get missiles, they'll hit the first idol of the game, which is probably gonna set them further apart, I suppose. It of course depends what kind of luck they get, but rarely do two people sort of get the same kind of RNG. So there'll be a difference in like how long one of them has to wait, most likely.
Alright. Upcoming there's gonna be a boss. That's gonna be fun. The best boss in the game, by far.
Arachnus, yeah, I'm not sure I would call it the best boss in the game, but it's there. And it's definitely something you had to get past at the beginning, so... That's also sort of a randomness to Arachnus, the first boss. It can either decide to roll or not, and if it does, I think it wastes 3-4 seconds, something like that, probably. It might be less, I'm not sure.
I think Mickey got 3 games first. Now he's at 4, 5. Oh man.
Yeah, so Dragonfangs took the lead here. And I mean, that's Fusion in a nutshell, really. Sometimes you get really bad luck on idols. And for people who are as close as these two races are, I can imagine it'll end up meaning a lot. But Dragonfangs definitely got the lead here. Though he did get a roll, so Mickey was able to sort of catch up a little bit. And Mickey got a beautiful sweet spot. Dragonfangs got a very good one too, but Mickey got like almost perfect. So they're almost even now.
Oh man, they are pretty much even actually. Oh dang. Okay. Well.
Both of them having a bit of issues breaking those huge blocks. There's sort of two different stats you can use to destroy those blocks. One is wall jumping off the wall and seeing if you can hit like one or two of them, and then grab the ledge and roll up, or you can just straight up grab the ledge right away, do sort of like a ledge jump, shoot both of them, and then roll in. I mean, I actually don't know what is faster, so. There's a lot of small strats like that in Fusion that are sort of relatively even. Mickey taking a very small lead just because his tact is slightly better again. It looks like Mickey might have a bit of an advantage there. Dragonfangs going for the main deck missile tank. Probably not a bad idea. Sector 1 can be scary if you only have 20 missiles. If you sort of run out during Sector 1 with missiles, you're in a really bad spot. There's no real good place to farm missiles there, so. I'm expecting Dragonfangs to drop a missile tank that Mickey might grab later. So it's not like, I mean, Dragonfangs decides to take sort of the time loss now instead of later. The missile tank they grab later on is technically slightly faster to grab, but it comes later, so it's useful for a smaller amount of time.
Yeah. Alright, so now they're heading into Sector 1. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So many fun things to do in Sector 1. Like,
isn't there?
Yeah, there's like so many items to get. Like, it's amazing.
So many items. There's actually only one.
Well, there's plenty of missile tanks. Or at least
what you will most likely be seeing is them only grabbing charge beam at the end of Sector 1.
Yeah. Most of the missile tanks are out of the way, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So one thing to know about Sector 1 in a race is that the I-door is the second I-door in which you have to essentially get at least 2 rounds on. Can really set the tone for the race here, depending on how well or badly they do for the I-door.
Yeah, I mean, for the first I-door, Dragonfangs sort of caught up to Mickey and actually was ahead of him for a little bit. Now Mickey's caught up again, but could easily change when they get to that I-door. Every time they destroy a stabilizer, they also have to wait a random amount of time for the sort of the fog in the background to go away. That's unfortunately also random. It can like make a couple of seconds difference, I think.
That stinks.
Yep. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of things to hate about Sector 1 in general, and Dragonfangs is sort of. I imagine he's happy he grabbed the missile tank in the main deck because he's sort of running dangerously low at this point. He took a lot of damage in one room, which might potentially matter.
I mean, if
Mickey, on the other hand, getting a lot of missiles despite having taken damage, so he's good.
Yeah. Wow. He's at 11 right now.
Yep. Oh, thanks. Okay, he got a missile. He's good. You want at least 3 missiles by the time you hit the I-door, and Fangs just has 4, which is fine.
He has 1 to spare. That's okay.
Yeah. They're going for doubles on the I-door, I assume. Mickey missed both of them, but he got very good RNG otherwise. So like it's a little scary to go for doubles if you're low on missiles. Dragonfangs sort of being starved by the fact that he didn't get doubles at this point. Would have been like a perfect idol otherwise, I think, but it's still not too bad. He got 2 beams. Now they have charge beam, so they don't have to rely too much on missiles, since charge beam is pretty much almost universally better in a lot of instances.
Until, like, you know, you get super missiles and stuff. But until then, charge beam is honestly probably the best weapon to use on most enemies.
Even when you do get supers, you can just solve a lot of issues with the charge beam in general. I mean, there are of course some enemies that you can only destroy with missiles, in particular a bunch of bosses, so it's not like they become completely useless, but they're certainly like reduced to being like secondary killing power at this point.
Alright, so that's 1 stabilizer left on both their ends?
No, they just destroyed the last one.
Oh, I can't count. Or read, I'm sorry.
After charge beam, there's that one in the side room they both just destroyed. You can technically destroy it before getting charge beam, but I believe it's faster to do so after grabbing charge beam, since you're passing by that room anyway.
I think one of the reasons why they opt to make that the last one is early on, you really have to manage your missiles, and using 3 missiles on that stabilizer just reduce you to a lot of the possibility of farming in case things go wrong.
That's absolutely true. And we saw, for instance, that Dragonfangs had a scary amount of missiles there at one point, though he ended up being fine. So. If you don't have if you don't have at least 3 missiles before the eye door, sort of your best option is unfortunately to kill a bunch of enemies in a side room. And there's only 2 of them, and their drop rate for missiles isn't exactly great if you're low on health. So you just sort of you gotta reload that room a bunch of times, usually to get missiles, which is just really slow in general.
Yeah.
Mickey seems to be doing really well with the text meshing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every time we've seen them sort of side by side with text, it seems like he usually overtakes Dragonfangs by a little bit. I think a lot of people, when they speedrun this game, don't really pay too much attention to text in general. Which sort of makes sense because it doesn't count for in-game time, which is like how the leaderboards are right now.
And if I'm not mistaken, one of these runners run Fusion English almost always and not Japanese. Is that true?
If you're talking about Dragonfangs, then yeah, I think he usually runs in English.
That's
and Mickey sort of being more accustomed to the Japanese version, probably.
Text mastering is honestly really tough in this game.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess sort of the hardest part is making sure you start the faster text as soon as you can. You can't just hold it at the beginning of the text box. You gotta time it a little bit, as well as sort of advancing to the next text box. The timing is also a little tricky for that. And of course, since there's a lot of text in the game, it can end up mattering a lot. I think they're roughly 10 seconds apart at this point, which is not too bad.
Man, Sector 2 is so much fun. So, Sector 2, there's just a lot of charge beam involved in movement. Like, you have to be charging your beam quite a bit in order to kill things fast, because more damage. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of enemies on the ground, and you generally move faster on the ground in this game. So you want to avoid having to jump over enemies if you can. And yeah, so disposing of enemies as you're running past them is sort of a vital skill for Sector 2. We might also see a bit of RNG separating them further, or perhaps closing the gap between them after this boss, since it also does a random amount of jumps throughout the boss fight. And I mean, they waste a few seconds, so there's a few there's a bit of RNG involved there for sure. Dragonfangs got 0 beams on the door, meaning he caught up a little to Mickey, who I think got 1 beam.
No.
I believe so. But it could also be due to the fact that Mickey opted for the safety E-tank.
Oh, did he? Yeah, you're right, he did. Wow, I didn't even notice. That's an interesting choice, because I would not think Mickey is the type who would usually go for that, but if he's ahead and it's a race, I sort of see the point. It costs maybe 3 seconds to grab that one, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Mickey is able to set up the double-double on the Corex. Meanwhile, Dragonfangs is now fighting the Corex.
I was not counting jumps. Were anyone counting jumps?
I believe Mickey had less. I didn't count exactly how many.
Dragonfangs also finishing with the double-double. So, good fight for both of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see a sack skip here?
Obviously.
Highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. I'm not sure I've seen Mickey go for it in runs ever, and probably not Dragonfangs either. I might be mistaken, because it's been a while since I watched both of them do fusion.
Yeah.
I mean, it does save quite a bit of time if you're able to pull it off. So it could sort of be an equalizer for sure between these two players, since they're relatively close. But on the other hand, it might end up costing one of them the race completely, since it's sort of it's a pretty hard trick. So I absolutely understand not going for it.
Dragonfangs being set back just a little bit further, having a little bit of trouble climbing out of the long room, while Mickey basically had a really good climb.
Yeah, that's such a fun climb too, because the way those cocoon-like enemies work is that sort of, if you're just holding towards them as you pass by them, you sort of just instantly land on them perfectly, regardless of how you're timing your jump, basically. So you can potentially climb that room really fast. And it looks cool when you sort of get it. It feels good to do.
Right, if you get it right, it almost looks like you're tassing it.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it for sure.
I feel that since both of the runners have very close PBs, that the race might actually be decided on mistakes or, maybe even just RNG. So I guess the runner's going to have to try really hard here to make sure that every sector and every segment is as flawless as it can be.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a little lame if the race overall was decided by RNG, but we're not that far into the run yet, and like overall they've been both playing really solidly. We might see one of them slip up at some point, which absolutely could cost them the race. Ceres in particular, if Ceres goes wrong, it's a huge time waste.
Yeah, Ceres is not fun.
Me personally, I often have issues with Ceres. I think in my last race, I had like a 4-round Ceres, which, I mean, I assume it costs about 20 seconds over an optimal Ceres or something like that. Might be less. It sure feels like 20 seconds though. It feels like a lot of time wasted just waiting for him to, waiting sort of to see if you can scout a favorable spot to kill him.
Yeah.
Alright, at this point, Mickey is in the lead, and Dragonfangs is not that far behind, if you are just joining us.
Okay.
Mickey getting 1 beam on the Idol. I think in general, because of the odds of getting a beam versus an on beam, the average you sort of expected to get on each door is 1 beam. So, I mean, I personally wouldn't complain about that. Dragonfangs also getting 1 beam.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, that was a risky jump. Wow, I'm surprised he went for that. Well, it worked out for him. It worked out for him very well. So, I mean, kudos. Good job, Mickey. That's a very scary sort of shot to take, because you need to hit very, very close to Ceres for the beam, for the entirety of the beam, as well as the close range flare to connect, which is all that damage is needed sort of to 2-round him. Dragonfang's also getting a great fight, getting sort of a slightly easier pattern for getting 2 rounds, but.
It does make me wonder whether both of the runners are willing to take risks like that to ensure that they either maintain the lead or hope to catch up. Considering how close the race could possibly be.
I think I dropped out for a little bit. Sorry about that.
Guess what time it is? It's time to go fast. So now they have the speed booster. They can go super fast. It's quite good.
Yeah, like in addition to just going fast, the speed booster also has the added utility of breaking speed blocks, which there are a fair bit of in this game. So, for instance, in order to exit through the lower part of Sector 4, like Mickey just did, you have to break some speed blocks. And like a faster way of breaking those speed blocks is making sure you do the shine spark as close to the ground as possible. Dragonfangs got it, good job. So he breaks the speed blocks without having to sort of regain the speed booster properties by going back a little, like Mickey had to. So that's definitely Dragonfangs catching up by a few seconds there. Also, speed booster is really loud in this game.
Definitely.
So since every sector, like every beginning of the sector is a relatively long stretch of just running, there's always going to be some sort of speed booster trick at the beginning of every sector. I want to say the one at the beginning of Sector 3 is one of the cooler ones. The game is sort of constructed in such a way that Mickey almost went too far there. The game is sort of constructed in a way that if you just keep running at the beginning of Sector 3, you break a lot of blocks and sort of get past a shortcut where you would otherwise sort of have to zigzag down.
So Mickey forgetting that he was supposed to go to Sector 3 instead of Sector 5. Fortunately, the door to Sector 5 is locked, and he actually shot the door and tried to jump through it. So luckily, he was stopped.
I assume it was sort of a brain fart on his part, and that's like absolutely something you'll encounter as a fusion runner when going between sectors, since it's a very samey-looking area in general. Fortunately, there are blinking lights to indicate where you need to go, otherwise people would absolutely forget it more.
I know, I sure would. Like, I just follow where it tells me to go, and I try to make the best route through it. It doesn't always work, but what can you do?
So because of that error, Dragonfangs is now creeping up towards Mickey.
Yeah, again, I think he's only at most like 10 seconds behind us though.
Let's see if Mickey's able to pull out the Shine Break, and he does.
The Shine Break being a very, very low frame window for sort of breaking the block and storing a Shine Spark at the same time, allowing you to Shine Spark up the corridor. It doesn't matter that much overall, but every small time saver matters at this point, and I think Dragonfangs just simply opts to not even try for it. Not risking it, because if you sort of stop too early, you waste a lot of time.
I believe it's 10 seconds lost.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mickey able to pull off the very difficult Data Spark trick.
Another one of those tricks that barely save time. Dragonfangs looks like he is getting it as well. The idea being so close. The idea being that you press the button while in the sliding animation, but you don't like begin the Shine Spark countdown. Sort of when you store the spark, you have 3 seconds until it runs out. So by sliding, you don't start the timer yet, but you make sure that you're still pressing the button down, giving you more time to do it. Both of these got a really good fight, so that's nice to see.
I think the Dragonfangs actually had the better fight of the two. Was able to kill him in the optimal position. Mickey kind of had box at maybe 1 or 2 steps to the left.
Oh, did he? I must have missed that, but yeah, because when you kill Box, he has to move all the way to the right, and he's very slow about that. So killing him right away is preferably, not only because he dies faster, but also because he ends up wasting less time after the fight. But that's good. Dragonfangs sort of needs everything he can get at this point to catch up.
Right. Fortunately, there are still many more Idors to come.
I like how you used "fortunately" there. I would personally never use "fortunately" in the same sentence as Idors.
What about fortunately the Idor had 0 beams?
Alright, if we're gonna make it negative, then I suppose it works.
Alright, heading to Sector 6. Sector 6 is kind of dark in places. It's pretty cool.
It's very interesting to note that the computer tells you that Sector 6 is very, very dark. However, I think it has something to do with the hardware of the Game Boy that can't actually make Sector 6 pitch black like I think what they intended it to be.
Oh, I'm sure they can make it. I'm sure they can make it dark, but you have to remember this game was made with the original Game Boy Advance in mind, which did not have any backlights of sorts. So I don't think any developer would purposely make a really dark game because, quite frankly, people wouldn't be able to tell what was happening on the screen back then.
Yeah. Nowadays, that'd be a different story, but
I mean, most of these runners in the tournament are playing on either console or emulator, which sort of replicates the colors perfectly, without being on a dark screen in the first place. So it's going to look lighter than on original hardware, so to speak.
So Dragonfangs did not place a bomb on the wall, so he may opt to skip the Sector 6 missiles.
Yeah, that was what I thought definitely when he grabbed the main deck missile, because I think both of these runners opt for 40 missiles. Which is sort of the optimal amount of missiles. But at the same time, a little scary because it can end up wasting time if you're not careful about missile management.
I don't think anybody is, honestly.
Running on an original GPA with a camera, I mean, we would accept that for the tournament, absolutely, if you really want to, as long as we can see what's going on.
So
but yeah,
showing off his power bomb block art.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Speaking of the whole game being dark or light, I think a lot of Nintendo's Virtual Console games opt to make most games slightly darker, probably to like emulate the fact that they were probably viewed a little darker on original hardware. But I'm not really sure why they do it, and it's sort of an annoying effect in a lot of them.
So Mickey landing 4 hits on the Mega Corex, but was not able to execute the first double. He did land 2 doubles, so it is a fairly quick Corex fight. Yeah,
that was a really good fight overall for Mickey. Like sort of the minimum amount of shots you have to land on the Corex is 4 in order to kill it. Dragonfangs also got it, and I think he might have missed the first double. The first double on that guy is sort of tricky just because the core usually dies in a different position every time unless you are able to replicate the fight perfectly every time, which doesn't happen that often. But I think they had almost pretty much the exact same fight, so...
Yep, both runners got 4 hits on Megacore and 2 doubles.
It's like watching sort of a mirror. Mickey sort of being blocked by one of the puffers. The puffers being the sort of coughing-like enemies. They're super annoying because when you hit them, they spew out toxic gas. So you can't just kill them to sort of get by them because then you'll run into the gas instead. It sort of lingers for a while, which is super annoying. Dragonfangs also being blocked by one of the puffers on the way out. Yeah, so Dragonfang's not picking up the Sector 6 missile tank. Sort of gaining on Mickey a little bit in by doing so.
So now they're heading to Sector 5 since they got the Varia suit. Sector 5 is a lot of fun.
Hugh, but you say that about every sector. Do you really
Yeah,
like the
because
game
the
that
whole-
much?
Yes, the game is so much fun. What are you talking about? What is there to hate about this game? Everything's perfect.
I'm glad you feel that way, considering you're still in the bracket.
I won't be for long, don't worry.
I guess
Oh,
I
but
would
you-
have to take Hubert's word for it. He is, of course, the best Fusion runner.
The reigning champion. Sector 5 has you go through sort of a loop in order to access the data room. And that loop is not particularly interesting, and unfortunately you have to go through it multiple times throughout the game.
I think it's like 3.
Yeah, 3 or 2, I'm not sure. Like,
I know.
I always zone out during this segment.
It's once to get ice missiles, once to get power bombs. I think it's 1 too.
And once more for Nightmare.
Oh yeah.
But you don't go to the lower half of Sector 5 for Nightmare. You just go straight across.
Yeah.
After Nightmare completes his rampage, he leaves behind openings.
Right. So I think Dragonfangs opted for the slightly riskier option for breaking the speed blocks. Sort of if you only go back the minimal distance required to break the speed blocks, you are at a risk of running into an enemy which is hiding behind a blue X. And unfortunately your beam doesn't go through blue X's, so hitting that enemy is often very, very tricky. And it can absolutely just break your speed boost if you run into it that way. So some people opt to run back a little further to minimize the risk of running into that guy, but also losing a little time in the progress.
Oh, Dragonfangs having a little bit of trouble executing the speed booster there.
Oh yeah, I wonder what happened. Did he not let go of the... It looked like he jumped.
I think whenever you get hit by those slugs while trying to do the speed booster, it's because you tried to initiate the speed booster a little bit too late in the room before.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Dragonfangs also falling through the frozen enemy. That can sort of happen. It's awkward.
Whoa, what's that thing flying in the background?
Yeah, what is that thing, Hubert?
I honestly don't know.
You never noticed?
I feel like we're gonna figure out eventually.
Alright.
Maybe after this
I think I
emergency
might have an
sector three?
idea.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Would it have anything to do with the emergency in Sector 3?
Emergency in what now? I think you might have misheard it.
Oh, sorry, emergency in Frankfurt, rather?
Yeah.
Alright.
They must be connected.
I honestly think they are. It might be the saxophone that's doing it.
I kind of like the emergency portion of the race because you can tell exactly whether one runner is pulling away or the other one's catching up because of the timer that is visible on the screen. So once both runners have completed the emergency, you can judge whether either Dragonfangs is going to catch up or Mickey is pulling ahead.
Mickey, of course, being wise and not stopping to talk with Adam again. Some people opt to do by accident sometimes.
I believe that there was a race not too long ago where the runner accidentally initiated the conversation and was at risk of losing the tournament because of that.
That sucks.
I mean, I know I talked to it accidentally, but
I've done it a million times. Or at least it feels like I have.
So Mickey was not able to break the speed booster box from under him, so it's going to cost him some time.
You mean the crumble blocks?
The speed booster box from under him.
So you had to go back?
He did have to go back.
Oh, I see. I didn't even notice.
I think Mickey's stream just went black.
Mickey is hiding his progress at this point. Of course, that's a valuable way of doing races, making sure your opponent can't see how well you're doing, so they have to second guess themselves. Don't worry. I like the strat is best used in moderation, so I'm sure he'll be back soon.
I just went over to his channel. You should see pictures soon.
That's good.
all right. There
I mean,
it
his
is.
his timer was still running, so I'm not sure exactly what was going on.
I'm going to call splicing.
Most likely, Dragonfangs getting one beam. Did you guys see what Mickey got?
I think it was the screen was still black.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
might have
know.
been hiding it.
So Mickey ending the emergency in 4. Seems like it'll be 4. Forgets to step on the computer.
Oh, Mickey, what are you doing?
Oh, my
no.
god.
Now we have Dragonfangs in the lead.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of a brain fart that can happen.
Oh man.
Might have been worried about his stream. Dragonfangs, I think, got the double on the core. Yeah, so he's taken quite a good lead now, Dragonfangs, due to his superior emergency.
I think it was the difference was over 20 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, there was quite a bit of difference. I'm not sure if Mickey sort of maybe decided to salvage his stream, dropping a bit of time, or what if he had issues elsewhere, because you said he had to run back at some point, which might also contribute. And I guess he might have gotten really bad idols as well.
Mickey having a little bit of trouble with the climb, and he's able to recover.
Ooh, phew. I'm kind of glad he grabbed the extra E-Tank now, because that was a lot of damage.
So at this point, Dragonfangs is in the lead, catching up after being behind. I want to say about 10 to 15 seconds. Dragonfangs is now slightly ahead.
Only a few seconds though, anything can happen.
Right.
This is Metroid Fusion after all.
Where the magic happens.
The Omega Metroid could happen.
Oh yeah. Obviously, even the most experienced of runners have issues with the final boss in the game.
Like, this run pretty much, it's not over until it's over. It's like, actually how it is. Oh yeah, isn't it time to go save the animals?
I guess they had to.
You guys don't want to save the animals?
So, someone tell him why animals stink in this game.
Well, I know there's RNG involved with them.
Yep. It can matter quite a bit too.
Upwards of how many seconds?
10, I believe.
That's pretty bad.
I'm not sure exactly how much it is, but if you compare sort of certainly some of the worst I've seen with some of the best I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least nearing 10 seconds. So, like, the league can absolutely change at this point. Ooh, Dragonfangs going for the impossible strat, getting it. Mickey opting for the... Ooh, that might be... Okay, he's fine.
Yeah, he's good. Don't
he
worry.
he hit it a bit late, so the jump over to it sort of was kind of scary. But he made it.
He said something in chat. I'm not sure. Oh, he missed Shine Spark.
Yeah, he accidentally bonked his head with the Shine Spark. Oh, that's trouble. Fortunately, he handles the room very well otherwise, so doesn't end up losing too much time doing it. I'm so used to doing this Shine Spark. If I did the bonk there, I think I would absolutely just panic, not knowing what to do. Animal is not being too bad, but that missed Shine Spark is going to cost him.
Yeah.
So it looks like Mickey is now about 12 seconds behind. Still anyone's game. The late game portion of the game should be very exciting to watch.
Yeah, it can absolutely change hands a couple of times throughout endgame. It's so crucial at this point that they both nail the bosses without too much issue, making sure they don't run out of missiles, making sure they manipulate them right, they don't fall into bad places or whatever boss they're fighting. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Dragonfangs having enough sort of time to tell Mickey to pull his act together. And like, bearing any accidents, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the final missile tank they both grab.
Hopefully.
What you call accident, I call intentional.
Sure. You're like the only person that does it, I think. Grab a missile tank slightly later. I mean, it's certainly a possibility, but I think both of these runners are quite comfortable with 40 missiles.
Right, I think I know that Mickey exclusively does 40 missiles. I can't say the same for Dragonfangs, I'm not too sure.
Oh, Dragonfang's sort of missing the jump down, so he can't do the Shine Spark, yeah. Fortunately, that Shine Spark is incredibly minor when it comes to saving time, so it's not a big deal. Now, if he fails it later, that's going to be trouble. But let's not worry about that just yet. I think Mickey might have caught up just a little bit. Looking good for the most part. So he was a little bit messed up in Meltdown, but he sort of pulled himself together. It looks like, catching up.
Dragonfangs just barely dodging that ice.
I must admit I was a little worried. That was sketchy. I mean,
Mickey as well.
At this point, they do have barrier suits, so they can't be frozen. What would happen if they got shot is they would take a lot of damage and lose a little bit of time, but obviously, I mean, they have to go through a section in a little bit where they could potentially take a lot of damage, and if they don't have full health, then that is kind of scary. So I'm sure they knew what they were doing, right?
Obviously.
It would be less scarier for Mickey considering he has that safety E-tank.
That is absolutely true. So far, he hasn't needed it yet, I think, but he might later on.
So both runners handling the exit portion of Sector 5 well. However, I think the lead is still at 10 seconds.
Looks like it's
this is like one of the least RNG heavy sections of the game, so you want to make sure that you better get your execution down here. There should be little to no variance every time.
All right, so the spitter room in question is coming up. About to find out whether both runners are able to get the speed booster off in that corridor.
Right. The main thing they want to do is keep firing their charge beam to kill the enemies on the ground. Unfortunately, sometimes the spitters do drop spit on you right as you're passing by. Dragonfangs getting through without a hitch, so he's good. Just need to grab the Missile of Shame. Mickey also looking good. Yep, they both got lucky. I want to say mostly you don't get hit. At least that's my experience, but sometimes you definitely do.
I don't know if Mickey actually broke the powerbomb blocks.
Yeah, that's a little sketchy because you want to place the powerbomb early to make sure you break those powerbomb blocks so you can just speed boost straight through on the way back. But sometimes runners just start running a little early and you're not quite sure if you broke the powerbomb blocks or not.
We'll have to find out here shortly. He gets one of the two.
He got one of them. Honestly, though, as long as you get one, it's fine.
It was very close.
Yeah. If he had gotten none of them, then he would have to wait for a powerbomb explosion, which takes forever. Yeah, Mickey looks like he's sort of caught up a little bit still, for some reason. Might be superior tech smashing, might be superior movement. Either way, he's right behind Dragonfangs right now.
Right.
Oh, and this is like the worst RNG part of the game. Dragonfangs getting 0 beams. But he might get a particularly bad Yakuza. Yakuza can waste a random amount of time. It decides to walk around before it shoots again a little bit. And you can sort of forcibly end a round by going, by being grabbed by Yakuza. And Dragonfang is getting 1 round.
Nice.
Clutching his 4-leaf clover. That's very lucky. I think Mickey got 1 beam, and wow, he also got Yakuza. That's good. Both doing well at this point. Dragonfang's getting an interesting double there. Sort of shooting diagonally. And I think ending the fight with 2 doubles. Nice.
Both runners having very good Yakuza fights.
Yep. So as soon as I saw Dragonfangs getting 1 round, I was thinking, man, that's going to be rough for Mickey, especially if he gets something a lot worse. But fortunately, they were fairly equal in that regard, so not a huge deal. I think Dragonfangs pulled a little bit ahead just because of his Idor, but they both had a good fight and good RNG for the most part.
Still anyone's race as we continue on the gauntlet.
I stand corrected. Mickey got a 2-round Yakuza. Either way, could have been a lot worse. And 2 beams as well. So once you have to like space jump into that tiny little hole, you have to destroy a bunch of branches, and that's sort of awkward just because the beam infusion sort of has a will of its own in what it hits when you shoot at multiple targets. So sometimes you end up destroying certain branches that aren't super beneficial. I'm sure you can sort of, if you shoot at the exact same spot, it'll hit the same things, but that's not always very likely that you will.
Especially if you're speed jumping.
Yeah.
Space jumping. Because Mickey was able to break those vines fairly quickly, he was able to catch up just a little bit. As you saw, Dragonfangs was having a little bit of difficulty taking care of that.
Yeah, Mickey's sort of showing that he might overall be the slightly better runner for the minor things there. But I mean, the better runner is obviously the one being ahead, is the logical conclusion. So we'll see if he can sort of defend that title. Dragonfangs getting a fair few beams, Mickey getting one, it looks like. This is a very missile-intensive boss, so it's important that they make sure to hit the enemy with the appropriate amount of beams, missiles, and power bombs. And so ideally they should end the fight with 0 missiles. But it's fine if they have like a little left over. They need some for the core as well. And it looks like Dragonfangs is not completely confident with the double missile on his core, instead opting for singles. So that might end up potentially wasting a bit of... Yeah, see, Mickey almost entirely caught up on this boss now because of his ability to double the core. Wow, this is really close at this point. I'm very glad.
And I think that Mickey's charge beam and power bomb was a little bit more... I'm looking for a word here.
A little more on point?
Yeah, he used less charge beams and power bombs, I believe.
Yeah, Dragonfang's sort of opting to play it a little safe to make sure he doesn't run out of missiles, which would probably be the worst outcome there. Oh man, this race is so good. So close.
Is this the closest a race has been so far?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. And Mickey might again just catch up a little bit on text mashing.
There's one particular segment at the end of the game where it's about a minute worth of text smashing or more. I don't know exactly how long. So if the race is still close by then, Mickey may have the advantage there.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of text towards sort of the end of the game.
Both runners now in the nav room of Sector 5. The third and final time we are going to be in Sector 5.
Oh, are we doing Nightmare Space Boost now?
I think it's unlikely.
It's too much of a risk.
Oh, I was worried about Dragonfangs there, but he got it. Looks good. Not sure why he opts to jump through the door, considering he really doesn't need to, but I mean, swag points and all that.
Fortunately, the game corrects Samus's position as she makes her way through the first door and puts her back where she should be.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure I would use the word correct, considering those are the only sort of transitions that do that, and there's sort of no point in doing it. I'm not sure why it does that.
It is very interesting.
It's annoying too, because if they didn't do that, then space boosting through that section would be a hell of a lot easier and probably standard, as opposed to what it is now, where it's sort of just something you would have to be very, very, very good at to pull off all the way to the end.
Mickey dropping a space jump there. But both run... Oh, Mickey just got the lead.
Yeah, Dragonfangs unfortunately getting a lot of beams on this one.
That stinks.
Wisely opting to kill it with a beam so that he doesn't have to wait for the red X, saving a couple of frames. So Mickey is in the lead here again now.
So we've seen 3 lead changes so far. Dragonfangs having a little bit of difficulty with the last hit on the first phase.
It's kind of a shame that we have to see the lead change just because of Idor, but I mean, it's Fusion, so it's bound to happen.
Right.
Mickey's seeming to... Yep, he got it Nightmare into position pretty well. He is definitely good. Dragonfangs also getting a very, very good spot for Nightmare. Close to the ground and really far to the right. As soon as you've sort of killed Nightmare, he has to move all the way to the right of the screen. So the further you stop him towards that spot, the faster it is. So yeah, both of them got great fights.
I think Dragonfangs got the triple double, whereas Mickey only got 2 doubles.
I think he actually only got 2 doubles, but
Okay.
he definitely seemed to have caught up just a tiny bit from that Nightmare fight. Only a room behind Mickey at this point. So yeah, I definitely think he caught up a little bit. Oh, Dragonfang's going really far back, making sure he gets the speed boost, but unfortunately he has a bit of issues with the pirate, and if that pirate shoots a beam, you don't really want to start running right away, because then you'll run into the beam, which is bad news when you're trying to start a speed boost.
Secret message.
Oh yeah, Dragonfang's sort of not getting the speed jump there, so he has to destroy the blocks with a bomb instead, wasting a little bit of time. Still really close.
Because the race is so close right now, we're starting to kind of pick up on very minor mistakes that the runners are making and how it might impact their run. So at this point, I think Eagle said this before, both runners would have to pay extra attention to what they're doing.
Oh, Mickey's sort of stopping to kill the pirates. Maybe he was getting really annoyed by that one pirate. So I imagine both of these runners go for this. Oh, wow. Dragonfang's sort of killing the balloon mid-animation, just barely before it would stop him. That could have been really bad. Alright, so Mickey actually goes for the Shine Spark and Dragonfangs goes for the Space Boost, yeah. The Shine Spark sort of being a little trickier, but probably slightly more convenient just because it means you don't have to deal with space jumping up that really long room and around the enemy, which Dragonfangs seems to have a bit of an issue with there. The Space Boost is potentially faster.
Right, the runners have high-fived each other at the data room. The lead seems to be growing now for Mickey.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's an interesting strategy I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think it might be a slightly faster way of going out of the room. I'm not sure.
It's definitely something that you would do for English only, correct?
If I'm watching yeah, it's definitely something you would only do in English because that room is smaller in the English version. But I think Dragonfangs is sort of generally his philosophy with running is always go for the optimal strat for the most parts. Or at least optimal within like what's humanly possible. This boss battle could actually mean a lot. This box 2 fight.
Box 2 is amazing.
Box 2 having a tiny sweet spot for hitting missiles on. So if one player deals with it better than the other, then we could definitely see either Mickey taking a bigger lead or Dragonfangs catching up.
if my math is correct, I believe MickeyGnou sports a 14-second lead. Like Eagle said, it could change with the upcoming boss fight.
Yeah, so Mickey may be perhaps showing that he's ever so slightly better when it comes to movement for now. And sort of pulling a little ahead with every tech smash or every platforming section.
Puffer giving Dragonfangs a little bit of problem there.
Yeah, so what he was trying to do is shoot a diffusion missile diagonally down as he enters the room, but he fired a little bit too early, so it hit the wall instead, and he didn't like sort of get the puffers that way, resulting in them being in an awkward spot. And Dragonfangs trying to shoot the door running, which is really, really hard, and I think a 1-frame window or something like that. Oh, Mickey having a bit of an issue with Box there, getting hit multiple times.
Dang.
This is Dragonfang's chance. Oh yeah, he's really not having a good time with Box right now. This is absolutely Dragonfangs' chance. Mickey's still finishing before Dragonfangs, but he basically caught up at this point.
Both runners showing off different ways to get sweet spots for this boss. Mickey opting to use the monkey bars, while Dragonfangs decides to do space jump around.
Yeah, so the sort of big lead at this point is reduced to a few seconds again.
This game is amazing. Whoa.
I'm definitely going to count the difference between the two runners for the timer here.
At this point, it might actually matter whether or not they get a good climb or not. Absolutely. So you can lag the room a lot if you shoot a bunch of missiles there or place power bombs or whatever. Both runners wisely not opting to do that since it absolutely wastes time at this point. But it's sort of it used to be more of a tradition that you would just lag that room to hell since it was based on in-game time. Yeah.
So we have a sync here. I think Mickey was a little bit slower.
Wow, yeah. They're like half a second apart at this point. So good.
Mickey exiting that room at 53 seconds, I believe, while Dragonfangs exiting at 54.
Wow.
Doing ever so slightly better. Mickey might take the lead a little bit here more on the text if he keeps up his sort of slightly better text smashing.
This is a very interesting race as we're pulling closer to the finish line.
Have you seen any safety saves from either of them?
No.
No, I highly doubt both runners will save at all.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say neither runner can afford to safety save at this point. It's all or nothing.
I wonder if they know that. That's the real question.
I think they have an idea, for sure. Oh, Morgan correcting me that Fangs did indeed save the ship.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, so should they both die, I guess Dragonfangs has the advantage, but again, these are very experienced runners, so I don't see it happening. Oh, Dragonfangs looks like he might use a different strat in that room. Traditionally, you charge diffusion missiles as you enter that room to destroy some missile blocks later on. You can do it on the way back, and I don't think there's technically a difference. So Dragonfangs having slightly more issues with Gold Pirates than Mickey did. Still only a few seconds behind.
Like,
Looks like Mickey got no beams.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Dragonfangs being halted again. That sucks. 3 beams at least.
Oh, it's a 4 beam.
Oh, 4 beams.
Oh my
Why?
God.
Game, why would you do this at this
On
point?
the last eye door.
Oh, that sucks so much. But it's not over until it's over. It's sort of absolutely better Ridley fights than others, and it looks like both of them might have a bit of issues. Maybe Fangs can catch up a little bit. Both runners seem to have alright fights for the most part.
I think Mickey landed just one double here. Let's see if Dragonfangs is able to do more than one. He's got one at least. I just saw it.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, so both runners having one double missile on the Borax.
So maybe slightly less than 10 seconds behind, I would say. I mean, if one of them screws up the final boss, that is basically a win at this point, I would say.
It's most likely
Absolutely.
a win in any circumstance, unless both of them die.
Yeah, like any mistake at this point is so scary. Yeah, see, so Dragonfang shoots a diffusion missile a little bit later here in this room.
Sorry about that.
I would be really salty if I was Dragonfangs right now. Got that joy towards the very end.
All right, so we have Mickey 10 seconds ahead of Dragonfangs at the moment. But once again, it is still anyone's game considering how close they are. One simple mistake on Sax could cost either of the runners the run.
Yeah, I guess Dragonfangs is probably acutely aware of text at this point. But if Mickey sort of continues the trend of having ever so slightly better text matching than Dragonfangs, then he might pull ahead even more a little bit because there's a very long text section coming up.
All right, here it is. Let's see who can mash faster.
It comes down to mashing. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I believe
What?
that there was a race in, I think it was either AGDQ or somewhere else that JRP was in, where he actually managed to catch up to one of the other runners because of his mashing and was able to win that way.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not surprised.
So I think that there's only a 5-second difference now.
No, I think it's still about 10 seconds, right?
Okay.
Looks like it. I can't really see where Dragonfangs would have gained 5 seconds.
Oh, I see what I did wrong. I did a math on different parts.
Yeah, you might have looked at the wrong part of the text.
I mean, all of the text looks the same to me, so...
I was looking at it wrong too.
So it looks like the chat is keenly aware of the difference between the runners, and it looks like it's 12 seconds, 12 to 13.
Some is saying 13 now. So again, it is very possible that Mickey might have gained a second or two in this text match.
Here we go, guys. The final stretch. The race to the finish.
Talking about nerves in chat, and I would be nervous too if I were about to enter the final boss here. The final boss is like you have to keep a stun lock going, and that is absolutely very precise. And Mickey sort of cutting the space boost a little short here. Again, one of these tiny mistakes that could help Dragonfangs catch up a little bit. And if either of them sort of mess up the stun lock on the final boss, then we could absolutely see the race going to the other person.
All right, here we go, guys.
This is it.
Come on.
So optimally, you would kill ESAX in 4 shots, and it looks like Mickey got 5. He got a very good fight. It's going to be tough for Dragonfangs.
Definitely going to be counting the doubles on the core here.
Got a very good second part too for Mickey. Oh, I think Dragonfangs might be shooting a bit. No, he got a very good fight too. Forget everything I said. He's looking very good too.
So Mickey landing 2 doubles on the ice core here, putting a lot of pressure on Dragonfangs.
That is a lot of pressure at this point.
Dragonfangs thinking...
Yeah, I don't think Dragonfangs is quite as comfortable with doubles on the ice core as Mickey might be.
I believe Dragonfangs actually landed 1.
It definitely
Slash shot should kill it.
Nice.
Yeah, so Dragonfangs also taking a bit longer on the boss here. I think at this point Mickey is looking very likely to be the winner.
Once
But
again,
I mean, people have been ahead at this point
right?
and
Assuming
not
no mistakes.
finished the game. Low height shine spot maybe?
No low hide here.
Nope.
Dang.
Dragonfangs potentially being able to gain half a second on Mickey by...
At this point, all Mickey has to do is get the quick kill here, and he should be the winner of the race. Dragonfangs.
Oh,
Oh, no.
doing the wind spark, the nerves finally getting to him. That costs a fair bit more than half a second, unfortunately. Oh, it's looking very unlikely he'll catch up at this point. Let's see how Mickey handles it. Oh, he actually misses the first shot.
Oh no!
Oh, he got swiped. Ooh. Hey, I would be sweating bullets if I was Mickey right now.
Oh,
Handling it decently while still taking a fair bit of damage. Is he down?
he's taking risks right
Oh,
now.
Mickey.
Mickey, oh my
Okay.
god.
Mickey giving everyone a heart attack here at the end. Dragonfangs opting for the off strat to save a little time. He actually caught up a lot for the final part here, just because he handled the final boss so much better. But it looks like Mickey is the winner. Dragonfangs finishing very, very respectable 8 or 9 seconds later than Mickey.
So
Really catching up here at the final boss. And like, I'm so sad we got that final idol there at the end, because dang, if they had gotten the same RNG there, they would have been neck and neck, absolutely right next to one another.
So it looks like both runners hit that done on the IRC channel, and the recorded times are 10 seconds from each other.
Yeah.
So
Gosh.
that was
dang.
and if I remember correctly with my math and everything, 4 I-beams equals 10 seconds, correct?
Yeah, roughly. It might be a little less, but absolutely, it must have affected Dragonfangs a little bit, getting that terrible RNG when they were that close. but keep managing to sort of hang in there and almost catching up with Mickey's mistake here at the end boss. So close.
Hey guys.
Hello, Mickey.
Hello.
Oh man.
Mickey, can we sort of get an idea of what you were thinking fighting Omega there?
I don't know. That's the first time that happened in a long time.
Yeah, we were talking about perhaps the nerves getting to you a little bit, because you were ahead at this point and you were looking likely to be the winner, but then Dragonfangs catching up quite a bit here at the end.
Yeah, that meltdown cost me a lot of time.
It definitely did. It definitely did. That's sort of where Dragonfangs took the lead at that point.
Yeah, my screen went black and I didn't know how to react. I was like, oh my god, no, it's all going bad.
In the end, though, you managed to pull a very, very clutch win over Dragonfangs, being only 9 or 10 seconds apart, depending on where you look. So congrats on...
Alright, everybody, we'll see you back here in 2.5 hours for more Metroid Fusion. Bye-bye.